chat. Please keep focused on students and practice. We don't discuss individual conditions in schools or individual cases. Industry experts are always welcome. However, we ask that you can listen and advise, but we don't promote any products or services on the forum. We will share the recording of the session on our YouTube channel, so please do check it out. We've put the links for all of our social media in the chat. And remember that we are in the same boat as you guys. We offer advice and guidance categorical. So always ask first to ensure that it is appropriate for your own setting. Okay, so why do we need effective questioning, and what is effective questioning? It is an essential teaching skill that enables the educator to check learners' understanding, to broaden and deepen the topic under discussion, and to model clear thinking, speaking, and listening skills. Questioning helps students to learn because it forces them to think critically about the material being taught. Students who are asked questions often respond with answers that are not memorized. So it forces them to process information and come up with solutions on the spot. When teachers ask questions, they're actually asking for feedback. And feedback is valuable because it allows teachers to determine whether their teaching methods are effective. Now, last month, we did a session on feedback and we had over 100 participants and we got some really, really good information there. Can anyone remember how many months can effective feedback accelerate learning? By how many months? I'm going to open the chat and just have a look. If you can remember, can you type it in the chat? So if you use effective feedback, how much acceleration in learning do you think you can get? Just type it in the chat. How many months?
Give you the research from the website recently, in case you want to do a quick Google.
And if you're on our mailing list for our monthly newsletter, I had it in our monthly newsletter as well. And if you're not on our mailing list, please send an email to info@incluzun.com and subject title newsletter, and we'll add you to that mailing list. Anybody, come on guys, we've got like 30 or 40 people here today. So give a guess, how many months of acceleration do you think can we accelerate learning by with effective feedback? We're a very quiet group. Okay, I'll tell you, it is 7 months. So if you give really effective feedback to your students, they can improve or advance up to 7 months faster than if you do not. Okay, so what can questioning do? Questions have a huge variety of uses in the classroom, and they can give us a huge variety of information that we can use as educators, but also that the students themselves can use. So closed-ended questions, such as those requiring a yes or no response, or a multiple choice, can quickly help us to check comprehension. Questions can stimulate discussion and creative and critical thinking, as well as determine how students are thinking. So this is where you move from your general content-based questions into your skills-related questions. Instead of asking a student to describe the features of a cylinder, for example, we can ask them, how do they know that this is a cylinder? Really moving into that deeper level of understanding and that deeper level of being able to think critically about the content they're using and the skills that they need in order to implement that content well. Questions can help students to retain material by putting into words otherwise unarticulated thoughts. Now, what does that mean? We often can think ourselves that we understand a process, or you may know a process so well that it is pretty automatic. But if you're asked to explain that process to someone else, sometimes we find ourselves struggling for the words to do it. Or we may find that we're missing a step or two, or we don't understand the process as fully as we thought we did. So when you ask a student to put into words what their processing is, this can really help to deepen and retain material. For higher order thinking skills, they support questions. Sorry, guys. They support questions that probe for deeper meaning. They foster critical thinking skills and higher order capabilities, such as problem solving. And they encourage the types of flexible learners and critical thinkers that are needed for the 21st century. Now, there are many different tools used to develop questioning skills, and we'll look at two of the most commonly used criterion tools in education. So, does anyone know who this guy is? Can you write it in the chat? How many participants? We've got 44 people. Surely someone will know who is this guy. A very famous educational researcher. So a recent report from the Education Endowment Foundation, which is a really, really brilliant website, guys. If you get on there, you will see so much research all around different practices in education. And it suggests that the use of metacognitive strategies, effective questioning, which gets pupils to think about their learning, think about the skills they're developing and using, it can be worth the equivalent of an additional 7 months progress if we use it well. That is huge if we use it well. So that's the key. And we're now going to look at the strategies that we can use in class to implement metacognitive and effective questioning. So here's an overview of the EEF, the website. They do meta-analyses of different bodies of research, and they look at the cost of implementation, the evidence strength, and the impact in terms of accelerated progress in months. So here you can see the cost of implementation, the little pound sign, it's very low. It doesn't cost much for us to start questioning our kids effectively. The research is huge. There's loads of research, and the impact in months, it's huge, guys. 7 months of accelerated progress. So on the EEF website, there are loads of free resources that you can download that go through specific ways to implement self-regulated or metacognitive learning. And we're going to look at some of these. How can we implement this in class right now? Okay, so how can we implement? Begin by determining your learning objectives and align your questions with the objectives. Consider which level of learning you're targeting, and if in doubt, refer to Bloom's taxonomy or Webb's DOK and look for those really higher order thinking, questioning skills. State your questions with precision, and this goes back to our large majority of students who are ESL. Poor wording and the use of rapid fire multiple questions can result in confusion. And I think we're all guilty of this. We're teaching a lesson and we ask so many questions all together, and we don't give the students time to think about what is the question and what are we trying to, what information are we trying to elicit from those questions.